Good day and welcome back, guys. Okay, so today the question is, who is and what is an exporter? What is an exporter? Who is an exporter? Okay, an exporter is a person or company that sells goods to a buyer and ships goods to that buyer in another country. The exporter is always the person who ships the goods at their origin country. So let me repeat that. The exporter is the person who ships the goods at the origin country. Okay? The exporter can be referred to as the shipper. So it's the exporter, it can be referred to as the shipper, the supplier, the consignor, okay, and the seller. I would like to say it's all the same thing, but the shipper is the seller, the exporter, and in shipping terms, he's the consignor. Okay. So again, we're going to go back to our diagram, and I'm going to explain to you who the import and exporter is, and it's going to be a little bit of a exercise for you to see if you can interpret and see who the exporter or the buyer is. But in a nutshell, an exporter is a person or a company who either makes goods, manufactures goods, or buys goods locally and sells it to a buyer internationally. So an exporter is someone who sells their goods to a buyer in another country and they ship it cross border. Okay, so I'm going to go to the diagram over here. So if person A in South Africa over here manufactures or makes goods or buys it locally here and sells it to person B in Australia, person A is the exporter. The exporter is always the person who moves or ships the goods out of their origin country. Okay, so person A in this instance is shipping the goods out of South Africa. He now becomes the exporter and he ships the goods into Australia. Okay, so that's that little diagram over there. Now let's take a different scenario. I'm going to tell you who the seller is and who the buyer is, and you're going to tell me who, or I'm going to pause and give you a little bit of a brief second there to see if you can determine who the exporter is. So this is the United Kingdom, person C, and this is Germany, person D. The seller is this person in Germany, and the buyer is this person in the United Kingdom. Who is the exporter? The exporter is the person in Germany because they're the seller. They sold the goods to the person in the United Kingdom, and the moment they ship it cross border, they become an exporter. If the same person ships within their country, they're not an exporter. The only time they become an exporter is if they move and sell goods out of their origin country. Okay. And that's it, guys. So basically speaking, the exporter is simply someone who sells goods to a buyer in another country, but more importantly, who ships goods to another country. Okay, guys, I hope that video was educational. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one where we explain who the importer is.